Sunshine Sound podcast with your host, Christine Matthias.
I kind of learned that everything's disposable. I mean, you have to be prepared for what you make to be disposable. It's thickening up your skin in a way, you know what I mean? Because here today, gone tomorrow with something like an album cover or
a song.
Yeah, you just can't be a prima donna about your art, or else you're gonna get really hurt and you get bitter.
Hello and welcome to episode number 19 of the Sunshine Sound podcast. Thank you for tuning in. So this one, I interviewed my friend Mark Sgarbossa. So where do I even start with Mark? He has been in the music scene for a bit. He used to play in the Shirlies. He played in Rotator, the Canadian Press. He does a lot of solo stuff, solo electronic stuff. I originally met him at Open Oscillator, which is that open mic night for electronic musicians that takes place here in South Park. He now plays in SeaBase and Thieves Like Us. They're that New Order tribute band. So, I mean, he's done a ton of stuff. When I asked him to send me a couple of tracks, he sent me like 500 things. I still don't know yet what I'm going to choose from out of all those tracks, but I'll play something good. And so when I first met him, one of the first times that I talked to him, he offered to make a poster for our band, Denim Robots. And, playing music over the years, I've, had a lot of offers for posters from some very generous and creative friends. But I didn't know what I was getting into. And when Mark offered to make a poster, I started looking at his stuff and was like completely blown away. And then it's just like, by the way, he's made stuff for Ice Cube and Dead & Co. and Black Sabbath and Soundgarden. Like, what? He's incredibly humble about it, and you wouldn't even know talking to him. So incredibly talented guy, and we really got to talk in this interview about how he was able to build up this incredible portfolio of stuff, kind of his creative process for making posters. He also talks about like all of his experience in the San Diego music scene and playing with a bunch of different bands. So this is a really fun interview. I love talking to Mark. So I hope that you enjoyed this one too. In the studio today, I have Mark Sgarbossa. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Christine. Nice to be here.
Finally, we've been talking about this for a little bit.
Yeah. Since you thought this idea up for the podcast,
right? I don't even know where to start with you because usually when I ask guests to come on, and I'm like, send me a couple tracks. They send me a couple tracks from their most recent, recordings or whatever, and you sent me like 700 things. You've done so much. Like where should we even start with you? Like where did you start playing music?
Well, really I started making music in just after high school. I bought a 4-track and a really terrible guitar, a Hondo, and it must have weighed 50 pounds, if not more, and started trying to kind of cover songs, and oddly enough, my first thing I ever did was cover Age's Consent by New Order. So
really?
I guess that'll come up a little bit later, that connection.
Hilarious, which we'll soon find out why.
Yeah, but I was terrible and still am at guitar, and then, after a while, in the early 90s, my friend from high school, Glenn Gorham, who's a DJ extraordinaire in town, and he was dating my friend Jeff Tragus, her sister, and we all met up and tried to start a band. So we started the Shirlies. That's really where I learned from Jeff mostly how kind of to make songs, because I had no idea, the whole, a verse, chorus, that made no sense to me. And like a bridge was a bridge too far. So,
and that was in San Diego? Did you grow up here?
No, I was born in Canada and moved here in the early 83, 84, right to El Cajon. So it's from super cold to really, really hot. Kind of like today.
Yeah.
But Yeah, so, high school in SoCal, grew up with, my brother was 5 years older than me and into punk rock and skateboarding in, the 70s. And so I got an early start on that stuff.
Nice.
And, which was good. Back in those days, there weren't that many kind of strange mod new wave kids around, but now I guess you can go to Hot Topic, but...
Right. It's hard to imagine that scene in El Cajon.
Yeah. No, I used to wear a white suit and pink lipstick and my hair all in front of my eyes and riding my 10-speed through, the Badlands. It was pretty fun. So anyways, met, Jeff and Glenn, and we started this thing, with guitars and bass. Glenn had never played bass, really. I'd never really played much guitar. And Jeff was a pretty proficient musician and guitarist at that point and started a band called the Shirlies, which was based off of, I had a 61 sedan DeVille Cadillac, and it had a car cover on it that said Shirlies. Don't exactly, if that was a last name or ownership of a woman named Shirley, but so we just decided to call it the Shirleys.
Nice.
And it was kind of a petri dish kind of name, like, the Smiths or something, where it's like, well, you can pretty much play whatever you want with a name like that. So.
That's true.
And we were kind of pop punky, copying other local bands,
Yeah.
like Rocket and Lucy's Fur Coat and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was like San Diego seems like a pop punky kind of place.
Yeah.
Like, was it especially at that time?
Yeah, and kind of a little bit of a greaser rockabilly-ish kind of thing, thrift store rockabilly. So, yeah, and actually Mike Santos from Lucy's Fur Goat produced our first 7-inch that I had given you today.
Nice.
In 95. So,
Cool. And then, so you guys played a bit in San Diego.
yeah, we played until about 97. We had a lot of fun, recorded, about maybe two 7-inches, and we're on a local, compilation, Staring at the Sun, which is Bart Mendoza put out. And so to us, that was enough success. Actually, playing at Casbah for us was like, if we didn't do anything else other than that, we would be happy. And
Right.
I still sort of am happy. You know what I mean? It's like,
Sure.
I shouldn't be in this position to even be in front of people, being self-taught and,
Right.
it's just, it was all just do it yourself completely. So.
And was Casbah in a different place then?
It had moved by that point
Okay.
from where it was in its previous smaller location to where it is now. So,
Such a cool space though.
it is.
Yeah.
It's great.
Were you touring at all?
No, and that's another thing, it's like we always seem to have jobs and weren't really willing to commit. But we toured San Diego a lot.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
We played almost everywhere. There was a lot of underage clubs, and that was especially important then. I think it is now too for younger bands younger kids just seem to get more into it. So.
Sure. Yeah. And then so what? That band ended at some point. Like what happened?
Well, I think it was the case of. It's not that we didn't have ideas. It's just conflicts in schedules, and not really a conflict in any artistic way. But, well, there was a point where, like, at the Casbah, like one of our last shows, it was, for some reason we went on like really late, and it was about 1 o'clock in the morning or something like that. And
was it a weekend show or?
Yeah, I think it was Sunday night, and there ended up being nobody in the bar, no sound guy, and no bartender. So we were standing there. We were standing there playing to nobody, and I think just
night.
yeah, and it's kind of like it was really a sad scene, but just kind of comical, like. Spinal Tap-ish in the best way. But,
Did you have to work the next day?
Yeah, I think I did. I was an art director for a clothing company at that time. So So the Shirlies ended on good terms, still friends with all of those guys, and subsequently continued writing with Jeff in Rotator a couple years later.
Yeah, so Rotator, that was a really cool band. So it's just the two of you?
Yeah, it was just the two of us, and it was kind of, we were doing a lot of stuff for the first album, all via MIDI, not anything with any software, because really it was available, but for some reason we weren't using it. We were using boxes, kind of like Open Oscillator, a lot of people use. And so our first shows, and a lot of our shows actually, we would play with those boxes, the Vogue quarters, the drum machines, and Jeff would have these like 5 octopuses up on stage of MIDI cables. They were just everywhere because everything was linked into each other, and sometimes the beats would be off a little bit, and but it was fun. It was unique in that way, and I think we were pretty unique at that time. So we ended up, I think Jeff had said before, we got to play with a lot of different types of bands that maybe other bands wouldn't get to, like Afro Man, like kind of semi-hip-hop stuff, and then sometimes electronica, DJs, bands like Sneaker Pimps, I think you mentioned that, and so...
was it? Did you guys have vocals or was it?
Yeah, we would sample vocals in our vocals and guitar. Like we would make the sounds. Usually we wouldn't just straight up like sample other people's music. I mean, we did have, a few samples from other things, and then I'd sometimes sing along with them, sing over top of them, sing, just by itself. But it was not really a standard song-oriented kind of band.
Sure, yeah. I remember on that first podcast where I interviewed Jeff, we played Orb of Light, and that song is so catchy. Like, it gets stuck in my head still, thinking back on it. Yeah.
And it's just essentially, just Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. You know what I mean? But it's like, my brother and I used to always talk about how great it would be if we didn't have to, like, eat food or do anything humans do and just be an orb of light, just, like, floating around,
I like it. Yeah.
But and stuff got, eventually stuff got, we recorded 3 records. And by the end, we were starting to use software almost exclusively, Reason, which is still a great program. And we found that we were writing at home individually, and we were sending files back and forth and kind of losing some of this togetherness that you get when you write songs, as a band. And, he was going in one direction. I wanted to be a little more, punky and electro clash with it at the time. And, he loves good pop songs. And so we were kind of separating a little bit artistically in that way.
Sure, yeah.
And ultimately, that just, everything runs its course. And then that was over. And But then we continue writing through the aughts, just as the Canadian Press, which was...
Okay, so that is like... similar to Rotator in a way.
Yeah, except it was much more indie pop rock a la Postal Service, let's say.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. Yeah.
So, or Pinback. I mean, Pinback was a very big influence. I think they're one of the best bands to come out of San Diego, Excellent.
Yeah, the Canadian Press album that you sent me is so cool because I feel there's such different sounds on each track. Like sometimes you're using like a drum machine or something, and then other times you actually have a live drummer. Is that right?
Yeah. Jeff's son.
Oh, really?
Who is a very good drummer, and he was doing stuff on Rotator stuff way back when he was a little kid. We get him to say words into the vocoder because he had a kind of higher pitched voice and it would sound better. I think he sang Orb of Light, I don't know, but so he played drums, and Dickie played on some of the tracks from Takahashi, Jeff's band, and it was fun. It was totally something that it took 10 years to make that many songs, just because we get together once a month maybe,
right. So were all those songs kind of written collaboratively then?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's why I think they're weirdly kind of more joyous for me. But, you know.
Yeah. So when you were like recording the songs like back in the 90s, did you have to go to, you said you were using Reason for some of it, but like for the Shirlies, did you actually like have to go into the studio? And it seems like it was a more complicated process.
And it was kind of
and more expensive.
More expensive, that's for sure, and more fun in the way that you felt like a real musician going into a studio where the the engineer's pawing at his face, going, "What are these guys?" You know, they're used to Yngwie Malmsteen coming through, and here we are. But we recorded at a West Wind studio, which is non-existent anymore, and with a guy named Dove, and it was so much fun. I mean, being in the studio recording music there's nothing more fun.
Yeah, it can also be really frustrating though. Yeah.
It's nice when you can do it for free, like you guys are doing, and we do it now. I mean, even with my other newer band, SeaBase, we're starting the recording process by ourselves, recorded the drums ourselves, and now we're just, overdubbing the bass parts.
Yeah.
But
so were you ever like trying to like get on a label or anything with the Shirlies?
I don't think I believed enough in myself for that, having that kind of high of a thought. But I did create my own record label called Pop Groovy.
Yeah.
And, most of the releases are either us or my friends or something like that. I mean, I'm sure that's the case with most kind of indie bands.
Sure.
Or indie labels. And so not much came with it. It's got a nice name, though. I like it.
It does. Yeah. I saw that on your albums, and I was like, oh, they're on a label. That's cool.
The more you can do, to make stuff look legitimate, wow, look at that logo.
Right.
They're really important.
But I feel like so much of it is because you are an amazing visual artist and graphic designer. So
shucks. Thank you.
So when did you, like, starting with the Shirlies, were you, like, making posters and stuff back then?
Yeah, absolutely, for the Shirlies. And it was definitely the only way to get it out that you were playing, other than the reader, which was the reader back then in San Diego was very important, who's playing where. And
right, there wasn't Facebook.
Yeah, and the writers always for the reader were excellent, and they very much got it, and the whole local scene thing, and I still think they do. But we'd make these posters and go put them up, and like everyone has done since the old punk rock days, but they're fun to look at now because
sure, yeah,
it's a time capsule.
Yeah, no, I mean we have posters up here for sure.
Yeah.
So when did you start getting into making posters?
Well, I went to San Diego State for painting and printmaking, and had some really good teachers there and a good learning experience about art, because I kind of knew how to draw before, but that's not all fine art is about. And I learned that from really great teachers like a man named Walter Cotton, who taught lithography, which I learned kind of how to make art, not just something representational, but something that transcends just an illustration, so that kind of nebulous spot of what art is. I'm still not sure if I'm very good at that thing because I never really pursued being a fine, quote unquote, fine artist. I always liked making art for a purpose, especially music, because I loved music so much, and I loved album covers. And that was my education, was looking at album covers and seeing, how does this image fit with this music? Something so, music is intangible in a way, and then there's, you equate it to this image. And sometimes it's done really well, and other times it's not.
Right.
So
what makes good album art, do you think?
Oh, boy. It really, again, depends on on the music because, That's such a good question. I don't know. Like for one of the Rotator records, the Sonic Demonic was the last record we made, and that was the one I wanted to be really kind of punky and electro clashy.
It's a good name. I like it.
Yeah, and I just took a cassette, and I had Jeff do all the writing on it because Jeff's
like the handwriting.
Yeah, because Jeff, the way he writes isn't like a graphic artist. It's kind of like a left-handed child. No, I'm just kidding, Jeff. But so I had him do all the song titles and stuff and wrote on this cassette tape, Rotator, Sonic Demonic, and then I took a hammer and bashed the fuck out of this tape and took a photo of that. That was the album cover, And subsequently I've seen that done, but I thought I was being pretty original at the time, but and it wasn't something I illustrated, which is always interesting to me because I don't like to get just pigeonholed into, he's the one that does the cartoony illustrations. You know what I mean?
Right. But, yeah, you have a lot of different styles that you kind of, like, I can kind of pick out the different styles looking at your, like, the book of illustrations that you sent me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, yeah, I guess it's kind of hard to conceptualize, but you said it's, like, really being able to capture something that's not tangible and translating it into something that is tangible. Yeah.
And I suppose if the music is good enough, it doesn't necessarily could just be a black album cover, How much more black can it be? But yeah. So I think that's what got me into the purposefulness of making art, and so therefore there's kind of parameters set up when you attack a project, whereas sometimes with fine art, it's really there is no parameters, and I guess I kind of need or like that.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's mostly how I've made money since I've been of age is making art. And, not really making money from music, but being able to do both is excellent.
Right, and finding a way to combine the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, so do you remember, like, the first posters that you made? Was it for the Shirlies?
Well, yeah. After that, that was kind of self-serving, but there was a period that I, was working, and I wasn't feeling like I was really getting anywhere with my own ideas or visually, and because I was drawing pictures of aliens fighting dragons, for Sears and Mervyn's, for boys' t-shirts. That's what I would do. Oh, yeah? So it's kind of this ridiculous non-adulty stuff, and so then I just decided, and also a suggestion for any other kind of upcoming artist is going around and finding bands and doing free posters for them, or free album covers, and I did that for Cashed Out, which is a local, as many people know, Johnny Cash tribute band, and again, I think it could have been the fact that people love Johnny Cash, and therefore you could almost go not wrong in whatever image you made of Johnny Cash, but it worked very well. And I got into a relationship with them, and people really liked that art, and that helped to the next step. So
what was the next step after that?
Well, I mean, I started getting requests from different national concert promoters, and started doing other stuff for like. Ultimately Dead and Co. and maybe not necessarily a bunch of music I like too much, but an opportunity to just work within the rock music industry.
Sure, yeah.
Whether it's tour merch or what have you, I always like it. It's always fun. I don't care if it's for a country Rascal Flatts to, latest one for baby metal, I think they were called, the Japanese heavy metal kind of girl band with really heavy kind of music, but then they sing really cute songs about sugar and popcorn and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, and the artwork was all like goats' heads and like it's totally satanic stuff, and it's like it's kind of funny the juxtaposition between that. But
So when you're like approached from like bands or whatever, not the kind of music that you listen to, do you like spend time listening to the music to like get inspired from that, or what do you do?
I try.
Yeah.
You know, I really just can't listen to the Grateful Dead, but but you know, it's there. What I love about yeah, I mean, getting inspired is, you know, you use a lot of other visual cues that, you know, they like this certain genre of music, what the audience might like. But yeah, yes, I do research a little bit.
Okay.
Is the answer to your question.
Yeah. and so how do your posters come together? Do you draw it? Is it all done on computers? Like what? How
That's
do you do this?
a very good question. Because sometimes it's all hand drawn. I mean, I've done made one for Soundgarden a couple years ago, and they reformed. That was all hand drawn, and it came out pretty well. And it was kind of like a Robert Williams esque, you know, a big monster machine kind of thing that he does. And that was all hand drawn, and then, you know, colored in and sent to the printers. Mostly the printers take it and do the separations and the printing, because I'm not set up to do that, and it's kind of a headache you don't want.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, unless you have if you have a garage and you can do a couple colors, you know, on a t-shirts or what have you, but yeah, it's laborious and expensive.
Gotcha.
So, but then, other times I draw some of it in, and then, orchestrate it in the computer in Photoshop. So
Gotcha.
it's whatever works.
Yeah.
You know?
So like you make really cool posters like for Open Oscillator every other month, whenever it is. And so like when you go into like making a poster like that, because they're all so different, do you have an idea going into it, or is it just kind of like intuitive? You just go with what comes out?
For Open Oscillator, it's really stream of consciousness, because I'm not getting paid, so that means I can do whatever the fuck I want to do.
Yes.
Which is a joy.
Sure.
I sometimes love not getting paid. Like the one I did for you guys, it's like,
I love that poster.
what are they gonna do? You know what I mean? So it's nice not getting paid. So, you know, you can do. I like to approach Open Oscillator stuff kind of the way that the performers do. It's a little bit of happen chance, the way the sounds come out, and that's what's so great about Open Oscillator. It's as if you don't know, it's an open mic night for electronic musicians, and it very much is that. It's you get up and you play for 8 to 10 minutes, or for 1 minute if you wanted, and. That's it. Like if it was a comedy store, you know, you get up and tell your jokes, and people either like it or they don't, or they're pretty nice at Open Oscillator.
They're super nice. Yeah.
So and that's been a joy. So yeah, when I'm making those posters, they're really just what I find in my scrap heap of stuff that I cobble together.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have like you've accumulated a scrap heap.
Well, sometimes I just draw, and I'm drawing on an airplane, and I just draw the whole poster. And just put a number on it, you know, and then. But back to Open Oscillator. That's a night that I think you've discussed with Jeff before. That he, Dan, and to a lesser extent Glenn and I helped create. Again, open mic electronic music night, and it went over great, and people love it. People love it, and now, there's other people kind of taking over it, which is awesome. You know what I mean? Because there's no ownership of this type of thing.
Yeah.
And so other guys are now taking over. We've had people in Australia ask if they can run one of their own Open Oscillator nights. I mean, I guess it's so cool. Semi-franchised, but with a nod and a wink. But so yeah, it's pretty exciting. I'm really only involved in the art aspect. I used to do the videos. And then after about a year or 2 years of the exact same video that I had made, I'm glad we got some other people to, create some visuals, because that's a big part of the whole night too. It's really kind of a cool visual night too.
It actually is.
Because all the boxes are lit up like Christmas trees, and you're like, what does that do?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you perform now and then. I feel like I haven't seen you perform in a while at Open Oscillator.
Yeah, I perform now and again. I just have been so kind of having my musical needs met with being in SeaBase, and now more recently I joined a New Order tribute band.
Oh, that's right.
And from guys that I met from Open Oscillator, Damien and Delia and JJ and Stuart, and so we played our first show about a month and a half ago
with Thieves Like Us.
Thieves Like Us, a New Order tribute, which it's very because Damien is kind of running the thing. He's very much a purist about the New Order live experience, which is great because I tend to be a little noodly and want to do my own thing, but it's pretty stringent, and it's good. It's good again to have parameters. Especially when I still consider myself kind of a novice, so it's.
So, are you playing guitar or singing?
Yeah, I'm playing guitar and singing.
Okay.
Fortunately, a lot of the guitar parts happen when you're not singing in that band. So, and it's really it's such great music. If you haven't really heard New Order, they are an '80s band, but they don't exemplify. It's not Safety Dance. It's a little more adult, I guess you'd say, as bubblegum 80s goes. But and Joy Division, of course, we play a few Joy Division songs, which we do them like New Order does, not like Joy Division does. In other words, I'm not trying to ape Ian Curtis, which would be difficult. But so, it's been fun. Yeah. It's been a lot of fun. Just. Making art and making music. I'm very lucky. I feel very fortunate,
Very cool.
Yeah, and meeting these people along the way. It's like you guys. It's been sweet.
Yeah. So let's take a quick break here. We'll listen to one of your tracks. I don't know which track I'm going to play, but I'll decide later and put it in here.
Good. That sounds great. I'd rather not know. Then I'll go, oh, not that one.
So now let's take a quick break and listen to one of Mark's solo tracks, Bela Surf. And we're back. That was a great track, whatever it was.
It was Gregorian chants. You could just put anything you want in there. Put in like Poison.
Right?
Actually, I've done a lot of work for Poison.
Have you really?
Yeah, again, not my favorite, but
What, are they still in action?
Yeah, that's a good question. I bet you they are.
Yeah. When did you do work for them?
Oh, over the years.
Yeah.
I mean, they tour and do probably county fairs and like
Sure.
casinos.
It seems like where they're at. It'd be interesting to be at that level of being a musician.
Yeah.
Just kind of write out your days
people,
on casinos.
People love it though. It's a little bit kind of like with the New Order thing. I said that I'd never do a tribute band, and it wasn't because I thought I'm above that or anything. It's just it wasn't high on my priority list to not create new music, to just copy somebody else's music. But I'm like, I really, really love New Order, and I'm tired of being in bands where no one comes and sees us. And San Diego's a little tough for that. It's tough to get people out, and then you use up your friends' goodwill eventually, and then
your friends start having like kids and things and don't want to come out anymore.
Yeah. No, I mean, so I guess that's why I said, okay, I want to be part of something where I love the music, and I think other people love the music. And if you get close enough, like Horseshoes and Hand Grenades, then they're gonna love it too. So so it's exciting, and get to play and sing. I haven't sung in a long time. So
do you guys like trying to get the look as well when you perform, or
a little bit? They're really not a very fancy band.
Are they not?
No,
Yeah.
I mean, like, they're not like Duran Duran or Kajagoogoo or I just want to say those, but they, in fact, they're kind of anti-fashion.
Are they
a lot.
really?
Like, yeah, there's a lady in their band in New Order, and she dressed like pretty much a office pool type pool worker. You know what I mean?
funny.
Not like Pat Benatar at the time. And so no, there's not much to do.
Oh, that's surprising. I wouldn't have. I thought they'd be all like gothed out or something.
No,
Yeah.
not actually in the least. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Very normal.
Huh.
Yeah, I guess that makes it easier, because
Sure.
we played with a Cure tribute band, and the lead
Maybe
singer
I'm
guys.
picturing the Cure.
Yeah,
really.
the guy's dressed up like he's got a tarantula on his head. So, which I'm glad we don't have to do that. But
Sure. Yeah. So you guys have had some. You said how many shows have you played?
we
with
just
them
did
now?
one.
Okay.
And back to we talked about booking, and booking is hard because I've kind of been tasked with booking us, and it's like, well, who do we play with? Who is this New Order?
Other than
There's
the
Smiths
Cure,
and
the
cover
Smiths.
band, and
Is there a Smiths cover band?
Oh yeah, there's a few I think
That'd
in
be
town.
hard.
Yeah,
How do
they're
you
really
be Morrissey.
well. Still Ill, I know, is really really good. So that's it. It's like, how do I book this?
Yeah. Do you
So-
try to go for other
Well, I've
cover
been-
bands, tribute bands?
Did I? Oh yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that would work best. I don't know what you think. We actually had talked about Denim Robot.
Sure. Yeah. We
We
played a
talked-
show with you guys.
Yeah, I mean-
before you were in the band. Yeah.
With
Oh yeah, with
With
Thieves,
Thieves?
like
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
we played that goth night at
Sabat.
no, it was Navajo Lounge.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my friend Stay Sweet, they play there from
Okay.
time to time. But yeah.
Yeah, I know, because I think it's easier if you can present a whole package to a venue, so you
Yeah.
have like a whole night of tribute bands or.
And generally
Whatever.
speaking, I think it would do good for most places. So
I think
I
so.
just need to kind of get the word out. Summer just kind of started, and we're on a little bit of a hiatus, but so
Yeah, and then you have SeaBase.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's an all bass, no vocals, 3 bass players, a drummer, no vocals.
Nice.
It's kind of punk surf, stoner rock-ish thing.
When did you guys start that?
About 2.5 years ago.
Okay. And who else is in that band?
Mike from Lucy's Fur Coat, Tom from Deadbolt, and Mark from the Palominos, I believe. Yeah, not the Golden Palominos, but yeah. So these guys are pretty seasoned, very good musicians, and you know, it's fun because it's pretty simple music. There is no bridges. There's just two parts, and you know, we mostly do originals. We do a few covers, but
what kind of covers do you do?
We do Devo Mongoloid, which comes across very good, I think. It's kind of an original take on it, and The Cure, A Forest,
Nice.
which is good, and Gary Newman Cars. And so I run some of the electronics for that. You know, I have a box that I kind of fire off samples, but so that's been fun. We've you know, we kind of have a little bit of a tiki surfy kind of vibe. So we've played at the Tiki Oasis a couple times. That's coming up. Unfortunately, we're not playing this upcoming one because usually we play at the Casbah room, and I believe Tim's not having that this year, but not 100% sure about that.
Okay.
So, and that's fun. That's a built-in crowd. Everyone's drunk, and you're playing on the floor, and you can do no wrong. You know, don't you love that?
Yeah.
When you can do no wrong.
So are you guys like pretty like dancey kind of stuff?
You know, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's you
like
know,
even though you're all like, I feel like with like an all bass kind of thing, it could go more experimental, weird, but you guys seem like you're a little more.
Yeah,
like,
it sounds
upbeat.
like a rock band.
Yeah.
You know, because Mike takes kind of the lead parts. Tom plays more of, you know, straight up like a bass player would play, and I kind of do rhythm parts and little licks here and there.
Okay,
You know,
yeah.
so it really, if you close your eyes, it sounds like a guitar band. It's just conceptually, you know, we thought we were pretty clever, but with the bass player. But I have seen other all bass bands.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
But
No, and it sounds interesting, like compelling people to come out and like see what that would sound like. Yeah.
They're surprised usually. And usually sometimes you get these like Jaco Pastorius type of dudes like, oh, why didn't you do, you know what I mean? It's like, but it's not about technical ability so much as concept, you know. To me, that's always wins out. But,
Concept over technical ability. Yeah.
But
Yeah. So do you guys write music together?
yeah, we do.
Is it pretty collaborative?
It's pretty collaborative. I mean, it's kind of a little bit like somebody brings something in, you work around it, and that's considered their song.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
if that's collaborative, then I guess that's collaborative.
Sure.
So, I mean, I brought in a couple, and we play them, and they're, you know, and they're good, and I thought, and the other guys write good stuff. So,
Yeah.
but it's definitely, you know, it's like all art. It's not always perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, you said you were working on a new album with those guys?
Yeah, we're working on
Your first album, right?
Yeah, our first album. But I'd love to put it out on vinyl.
Oh, yeah.
You know, just because it's kind of the music fits with the people that buy that kind of thing now. I think people buy every type of vinyl now. I mean, thank goodness. But I collect records.
Okay. Yeah.
And you know, I don't necessarily like reissues, but I like that there are reissues of things that you can't get. You know, so. But let's see what else.
Yeah. Cool. And so are you guys like, what, you just want to play around San Diego? Like that's your goal with that band?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think, you know, ultimately with the Thieves Like Us thing, Damien and the rest, they kind of want to go make it bigger and go up to LA, etc. Because, I mean, there are some like pretty big tribute bands back to that. I mean, the Depeche Mode one is, you know, it's not really about money, but I guess it's just about how many people you play in front of is kind of important.
Sure.
But
I think especially with the tribute band, it's like, it's like that's where you're going to get that opportunity.
Yeah.
And
people have a good time. I get very nervous. I'm not.
Yeah?
I get stage fright like crazy.
Do you really?
Yeah, yeah, and it takes a minute. Like even when we started talking today, I'm like, I feel like I'm stuttering because it's like, you know, I'm used to working in a vacuum most of the time, and you know, like you are here, like in this room, you don't, you know, you don't have to be on display.
Right. But, yeah. No, that's true. I mean, it's kind of refreshing to hear that from someone who's played music for so long. But I mean, I feel like in a way, if the stage fright went away, also the excitement about it would go away too. It's all in the same package, you know?
Yeah, I think probably if you don't have butterflies, you're not doing it right, or something's dead in you. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
But
yeah, so why do you keep doing it?
Well, that's a great question, because, you know, I'm a little bit older, but I still think I've got something to offer. You know, and I'm enjoying it, so that's about it.
Yeah.
It'll all be over at some point.
Right. You mean all of it?
Yeah,
or you mean
I
just
hate
playing music, or you mean this? Are we talking more
I hate to be
existential here?
modeling, but yeah, you know, you only got a finite time. You got to strike while the iron's hot. So.
Sure.
Or lukewarm.
Yeah.
But so, anyways, it's. Still going.
Yeah. Cool. Let's take another break and listen to another one of your tracks.
All right.
It's going to be a mystery.
All right.
You'll find out when you listen to the podcast.
I love it. All right.
So we'll take another break, and for a change of pace, we'll listen to one of the tracks by the Shirlies. This one is called Wow. Okay, we're back with some nice cool beers because it's hot in here.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Okay, so we were just talking more about art. I love hearing you talk about art. So I really just kind of jumping on the story here, but like what is the story with what happened with Ice Cube? And like, as you sent me that really cool video, and like how did that happen? And what was that like?
Well, it goes back to doing stuff for free for the cashed out cover band. And somebody from a poster company called Rare Ink saw it and loved it and included me in this kind of package of artists doing stuff with Ice Cube, like actually with him. He the profits that he made from these posters went to a charity. I forget, I think one of his charities. And so I was a part of about 3 or 4 other artists that did these re-illustrations of his album covers. And I got America KK's Most Wanted, and that's my favorite record of his. It's his first solo record.
So you're a fan personally?
Yeah. I mean, I used to listen to that back then, and it was it was a really fun record. I mean, the cover is really threatening and stuff, but I kind of gave it this kind of more colorful vibe, because it's a pretty fun record. And then I got a chance to do, which the other artists didn't get to do, is I did a reinterpretation of Today Was a Good Day video, which you've probably seen, and that's another very positive kind of song. And it kind of was just a mural type depiction of the video. And didn't really use any video stills except for the main one of him driving the Impala. And it's flowy and has the lyrics in it, and if you're a fan, it was great at the time to be able to purchase that. So
yeah. And how did you make that?
Well, that I drew some of it and scanned it in, and other stuff was manipulated on the computer. I find that on the computer, orchestrating visually things is much easier, because you can just toss stuff around as opposed to having a big drawing board. But I mean, I guess everyone knows that about computers, but it is a joy if you used to have to do it the other way.
Sure. Yeah.
So, so that was really exciting. And then I came up there after all the prints were done. Some of these only had a run of 100, and got to sit there and sign them with Ice Cube, and it was totally interesting and something like that I had never done before, in kind of a real studio setting. Like the walls were all white, and it was very cool. And so he was friendly. He was friendly enough.
Yeah.
As
friendly enough.
As friendly as Ice Cube's gonna be.
Yeah.
So it was a really great experience, and
like when you get approached for something like that, or working with any like large artists, like is it intimidating, or is it like at this point in your career you're like confident enough in your abilities?
I get really excited about it, because it's an opportunity to really try to work on something hard, because more people are going to see it. Now, that's not necessarily what you're supposed to do in life. You know what I mean? You're always supposed to work hard all the time, but it's nice when something comes along that is going to get a little more exposure. You tend to chomp into it a little bit harder. So
and so what does that mean to put, like, is that just putting more time into it, or putting more attention on it?
I think more time, for me anyways, thinking conceptually about what I'm going to do, and more time
like before you start.
Yeah, and working out the composition and doing smaller renderings, thumbnails as they were, of what I ultimately want to do.
So like the opposite of Open Oscillator. Exactly. So it's like
Open Oscillator, I saw like the new ones. I have a whole bunch of hands, and I just stuck a whole bunch of hands on there, because I'm like that's all it is hands pressing things when you think about it. And I usually, on Open Oscillator stuff, put images of keyboards. Like, it's a little on the nose sometimes. So this was a little more esoteric.
Sure.
But so I'm trying to think of something else that fits that category of like a bigger client. I mean, really, a lot of the I did a Black Sabbath tour poster for them, and Soundgarden, a lot of stuff for Chris Cornell before he passed. He was a great person to work for.
Yeah. Were you working with him directly or his management?
Yeah. But he, ultimately approves everything, and he was very open to stranger ideas. And I did about 3 or 4 that I thought were some of the best stuff I've done insofar as not being so hit you over the head obvious like some of the Dead and Co. stuff, which is like, skeleton, blah, blah, blah. But the Chris Cornell stuff I found to be more like his music. I mean, he was such a great vocalist. It was an honor working for him in Soundgarden. But
so when you're working for like a bigger act like that, do you have to send like your ideas and get them approved first? Or what is that
usually, yeah, that's the case. Is send a glut of ideas, usually finished.
So you put in like a lot of work up front.
I'm not really I don't like working where I have to show my work like in math, like, oh, this is it's not done, but and then I because it lets people meddle a little bit too much in what I'm doing, and that's never good. I mean,
right.
Committee is just awful to make art,
Yeah. Has that been like, have you had any pushback on that?
I have had people I've worked for before like get too involved and they want little inside jokes thrown into their stuff, and it's like no one understands this, and it just makes people scratch their head. It's better to stick with a nice, clean concept.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I tend to be very detailed in my artwork. I mean, my artwork's I'm not exactly a minimalist. But,
I've noticed that with your posters. Kind of the more you look at them, the more you see in them, like all these tiny little
good for
details.
Stoners.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, man, this poster's talking to me. No, but
like, do you go in later and kind of add all those little details?
I like texture.
Yeah.
And I think some of those things more to me are visual textures than really meaning anything. Like I'm not very deep, so it's like if you're looking for a Led Zeppelin Zopho, what does that mean? I'm as deep as a bottle cap. So,
like one of my favorite posters that you made is actually for SeaBase, the one that Bar Pink, the pink one with the elephant. I love that poster.
Well, that was, their logo that I just kind of reworked, which is a great logo. I love Bar Pink. It's awesome. We had played our best show there, probably.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I've never played there.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even realize it was a venue. I thought it was just like
it's pretty
little
good.
dive bar. Yeah.
A pretty good venue.
Did they have a sound person and everything?
Yeah, sound person. Actually, oddly, it was Dave from Tilt Wheel who produced the Shirlies' second 7-inch. Just a whole like background to everything. Like Jeff sent me this email that just said, "Isn't it a trip how, he went to high school with this guy Dave, and he produced our 7-inch, and then where Jeff's attending a show where I'm playing and he's not, and here's the sound guy that we know. You know what I mean? It's just this San Diego thing, which is cool." And
it's surprising how kind of small San Diego seems the longer you've been here.
It's hard to want to leave here. I mean, despite how hot it is today.
It's not too bad.
Yeah, I know. But, so, yeah, I guess that's why I'm not anxious to just throw in the towel and be like Archie Bunker as much as I'd like to be, but,
Sure. Yeah.
And so, I don't have any kids, it's just my wife and I, and we live in town, and it's just, so, what else is there to do?
Yeah. And so are you just like making art all day long?
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
8 hours a day. I'm pretty I'm pretty corporate about it. I get up in the morning and I make art, and then I'm done at like, when I'm done.
Yeah.
It's not like some of these are, artists are like, oh, I gotta, get up at 11 at night and then until the early morning. No, it's very much a job. And I think approaching it that way sometimes gives you more consistency.
Right. Right.
And also, your output of artwork. It's always important to me to be kind of prolific, like do a lot.
Yeah.
So, good or bad.
Sure. Yeah. So are you like constantly approaching new bands still to make posters, or are you a little more selective now?
Yeah, I mean, I more get approached to do projects. And, I work full-time for a company up in Hollywood. And we do a lot of viral T-shirts, meaning something happens online or something, immediately, our business development tries to hook up with these stars, quote in quotes, and come and do something with them for their charity or what have you. A lot of charity work, or tax write-offs, depending on how you want to look at it. So that, again, that's what I do almost all day.
Okay.
Yeah, apart from other stuff. But it's, that's very interesting. That's been something new in the past 3-4 years. And I know more about kind of pop culture than I should or even want to, Like I know about that floss dance.
I don't know what that is.
There you go. And I bet you there's about 2 people out there that do. But it's just stuff like that. These things come up, and next year you'll go, who was that?
Right.
So you got to do it right now.
Okay, and they make T-shirts.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's just a part of this very modern thing that we have now.
Yeah, but you found a way to make money making art, so
yeah,
that's pretty badass.
That's been great.
Yeah,
it has. It's I've been, again, pretty lucky because everyone I went to art school with is not making art.
Yeah.
And so there you go.
Yeah, it's interesting what you said about like kind of liking parameters, but I think the fact that you enjoy that is what has allowed you to make a career out of it, interestingly enough. Yeah.
Yeah. I've talked to some artists who are quite good. And they say they would never do anything like I'm doing.
Yeah.
And they're still working, odd jobs kind of thing. And
Sure.
I'm just saying, integrity, it's a strange word. You can have integrity about a lot of things, but I guess it's always comes down to like my brother, who's 5 years older than me. He had, was in the magazine industry and in skateboard industry, etc. And I kind of learned that everything's disposable. I mean, you have to be prepared for what you make to be disposable, and it's thickening up your skin in a way. You know what I mean? Because here today, gone tomorrow with something like an album cover or
Right.
It's
or a song.
yeah. You just can't be a prima donna about your art, or else you're gonna get really hurt.
Yeah.
And you get bitter.
Yeah, that's a good approach to have. Do you think it's that kind of thinking that makes you want to be more prolific because you have to keep putting stuff out there? Yeah,
totally. It's just filling the landfill. No, it's good. The more stuff I make, the more stuff I have to, my own actual like kind of clip art section. I can go back through my files and find something that I've made, so it's not like I'm ripping stuff off and repurpose it.
Is it like it's kind of like going through an old photo album? Like, do you think about where you are in your life when you're looking at certain,
yeah, I mostly think about how difficult I made it for myself when I first started doing some of this stuff. Yeah,
how is that?
Well, in Photoshop, not making layers, so now I got to go in and cut stuff out, and but. So I'm a little smarter about that now.
Yeah. So like it seems like you're pretty fast with posters now. Like if you for like an open oscillator poster, like how long does that take you?
20 minutes. Tops,
Really?
yeah. If like 15 maybe.
Wow.
Yeah. Now I am blessed with working fast.
Yeah.
I don't second guess myself a lot.
Yeah, you just trust your instincts.
I just like almost like automatic writing. Sometimes it just comes out, and then that's it. So sometimes I don't know when to stop. That was my problem in painting school. Like teachers would come by and go, "Stop, you're done."
How do you know when to stop?
I don't know. That's
I don't know that
problem.
with music either. That's a huge challenge.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, how many layers? I mean, you can put.
Especially with electronic music, because it's like you can just keep adding more layers.
Well, yeah, or anything. I mean, you could add 1,000 guitars.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not sure how good that's going to sound. It's going to eventually just sound like white noise. It'd just be like, shh. But, you know, it's a great problem to have. You know, it's a wealth of options.
Do you ever like put a bunch of layers on something you're working on and then peel it back?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I do that with music for sure.
Yes, I absolutely do that with art and music. I always add way too much and then edit. Because again, it's better in some cases to do that.
Yeah.
Other times, you know, you do a demo and you go and it's really raw and you go, that's great. That's it. That's done. You know, I like that feeling. But usually I'm, you know, like maybe like you, or I feel like, well, I need to add some more gobbledygook to this cake so it looks delicious.
Right.
You know, and usually it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
The cake's already done. No matter.
It is.
So.
You just have to peel it back.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah. Cool. So you have some of your art online. Like if you do like a Google image search for your name, you find all these cool posters.
Yeah, that's the only thing. I was thinking today, I'm like, my Pop Groovy label, even though I still own the name, the site is non-existent. So you won't find anything there. And before it was not that great to begin with. But,
and you have a great book of your art. Are you going to do another one of those, do you think?
I think so. I mean, that's available on Amazon. And I think it's worth the money.
Yeah, it's really great.
Yeah,
it's a good like coffee table book.
Yeah, my friend from Airwalk, Jamie Muehlhausen, did the foreword on it, and he was a guy who helped employ me in the aughts. You know, I did a lot of skateboards for Tony Hawk, and he's always been really gracious with me, and he did the foreword of that book. But I think I might do another book. I've done a lot more illustrative of stars lately kind of things. And I thought that would be kind of interesting.
Is that like something you just do for fun?
No, it's kind of more for my work.
Okay.
But, you know, there's not a wide, I don't think, variety of different styles when it comes to that. But I definitely have enough stuff to make another book.
Yeah. Cool. And yeah, do you have like all your stuff like online, easy to find, or is it just all over the place?
It's all backed up on hard drives.
Like, are you on Instagram? I can imagine you having an amazing Instagram.
I'm not on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, and I post stuff on Facebook.
Yeah, but just on your personal account, though, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're making it without Instagram. I feel like most new artists like have to be on Instagram.
I have never once gotten any come on from Facebook. Like, you know, someone going, oh, I need to be your friend. Now I want to hire you to do something. It's mostly my friends saying, can you do something for me for free?
Yeah.
Which I love doing.
Okay.
I do. I really do. I love doing stuff for my friends and their projects and stuff.
Cool.
Like Takahashi, I've done all of their art.
Sure. We're going to hit you up for more stuff.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It's a joy.
Awesome. Cool. Do you have more shows coming up? Either you talk about some stuff with
Nope.
Nothing now.
No, this summer it's like super hiatus right now. Everyone's like traveling and doing something else right now. So I'm a little bored. Yeah. I'm actually making a video right now for Thieves Like Us.
Oh, cool.
Like I'm making about an hour and 15-minute long, just a visual gobbledygook in the background kind of thing.
Like something to play at your shows?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Like, because, again, gilding the lily, because I'm always afraid people are going to get bored with just looking at us. So
yeah.
it's got to jangle the keys in front of the kids, you know. But, so, I mean, it's very rudimentary. The video is just, is New Order related imagery.
Sure.
You know, like not actual things that they've done, but things that you would think New Order would do.
Okay. And where do you get that stuff?
Steal it.
Okay.
Make it.
Yeah.
You know.
Cool.
Just throw it on.
Have you made any like music videos?
I made a video for some of the stuff I did for I think Klang Soilet Friesen, which you should play. But
Okay.
that's kind of a deep house ambient thing. Yeah, that was my last solo record. Was called Against Nature, and that was just me by myself, and very kind of ambient and gentle music to clean the house to. It's mostly like stuff that I would like to listen to over and over again, as opposed to maybe some of my more frantic stuff, which you just can't listen to over and over again.
Yeah.
You know. But
cool. But you made a music video for
that
one of those
video,
songs.
yeah,
Okay.
and it was kind of like just visual wallpaper kind of stuff.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. And so Thieves Are Like Us. I know they're on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And SeaBase.
And SeaBase is on Facebook.
Yeah. Do you guys have an Instagram?
I don't. I mean, I'm not in charge of that.
Okay.
If you Google my name, a bunch of images come up.
Yeah,
if you want
I
to see
know.
images,
Yeah.
I mean, but I don't know how they're connected to, and some of them aren't me either.
Really?
There's something called the Sgarbossa criteria, which is a test for arrhythmia in your heart. So you'll see a bunch of weird charts. Those aren't my
Interesting.
charts.
They're
Yeah.
not.
No.
Okay. Good to know.
There's a hockey player named Michael Sgarbossa too. I'm sure he's related to me.
Really?
He's got to be. Come
What
on.
is that name?
It means big purse. No,
Really?
I don't know. It's Italian for something.
It's Italian. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. My father his name is Guido, and he moved here. That always cracks people up.
Yeah.
My father Guido, but it's true.
Nice. Cool. Well, thanks.
Hey,
Mark,
thank you so much
coming
for
in the
having
studio
me.
and sweating it out.
Oh,
in the
it's
studio.
been great. I'm
like 200 degrees in here.
we're schwitzing in here. Anyways, thanks.
Oh, sure. Thanks again for listening to the Sunshine Sound podcast. So the next episodes, for every 10th episode, we do an all-music podcast. That one's going to be hosted by the one and only Tommy Bobcat, so definitely stay tuned for that. That'll be up next week. But if you want to check out some older episodes, you can head on over to sunshinesoundcenter.org. You can also find us on all the socials, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and you'll find some updates about Sunshine Sound Center and also other fun stuff going on at the San Diego music scene. I'm definitely going to be posting some more images of Mark's work, so definitely check that out, or just Google his name and check out all the really cool posters he's made. He also has a book you should check out. I'm all about promoting Mark right now. So that's all that I have for you today. But if you have any questions for me, want to suggest any guests, you can contact me at Christine with a C at sunshinesoundcenter.org. So have a good one. I'll talk to you soon.